All right. We are on Sirach Ecclesiasticus chapter 6. We are in chapter 6 of our verse by verse Bible study. What I need to do, I'm going to get the verses up on the screen. It's going to be a good Bible study. We're gonna go through this thing and really chop it up verse by verse. And we're getting a little deeper into the book. We're getting deeper into this particular book. It's a book of wisdom. Um, the Most High told us to get wisdom. With all you're getting, get understanding. And it is essential in this deceptive world we live in, where things are vying for your attention and your time, trying to get you off track. It is imperative that we get wisdom and that we get understanding. Now let me see. Okay, there we go. All right. So y'all give me a sec. I'm going to get these up on the screen for y'all. Let's see. If you are just patient with me. Okay. All right. We are almost ready to go. I'm going to get this up here and get it sized up properly so y'all can see it. I think y'all can see it pretty clearly now. But yeah, so this is Sirach Ecclesiasticus. We are, let me see if I make it as big as I can for you. There we go. We are in chapter 6 there. And we're going to go through this verse by verse. We're going to go through this verse by verse. We're even going to go through some other versions just to get added meaning. We're going to look at some definitions of some of the words. If y'all in the comments, let me know how my audio is. Let me know if the audio is coming in good. And with that said, y'all, we're gonna press forward. And also, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, statements, you name it, put it right there in the chat. We're gonna be going through the chat. We're gonna definitely go through there, see what is in there that is constructive to what we are discussing. So with that said, y'all, let's get it rolling. Let's roll with it. All right. We're gonna start with Sirach, or otherwise known as Ecclesiasticus. We're gonna start with chapter 6 verse 1. Instead of a friend, become not an enemy, for thereby thou shalt inherit an ill name, shame, and reproach. Even so shall a sinner that have a double tongue. Okay, a lot to unpack there in that short verse. There's a lot to unpack out of that. So literally what it's saying here is instead of trying to be people's friends, it's like what I say, be a brother, be a brother first and then let friendship develop. And what do I mean be a brother? Like, be loyal, be transparent, I call it keeping it 100. You know what I'm saying? Keep it 100. You know what I'm saying? Be transparent. Be real. Don't be, like I say, shisty. You know what I'm saying? Um, it says, so shall a sinner that have a double tongue. Okay? What does it mean to be double tongued? Okay? The definition, it says, describe someone who is deceitful, hypocritical, or says different things to different people, often to flatter or manipulate, making them untrustworthy. You know, man, listen, they got a book, and I'm sure a bunch of y'all have heard of it. Um, it's written by a Jewish person. It it's called 48 Laws of Power. It's literally a book that teaches you how to be double tongued. It teaches deception and manipulation and coercion. And at some point, I'm going to do a show really going through all these so-called laws and show you how this stuff goes against the word. Like it literally, yeah, it's, ooh. And you know what's crazy? They banned that book in prison. They banned it because like people were, it's high level witchcraft. It is sorcery. It's like, well, it's not sorcery. Sorcery is drugs, drugs that manipulate your mind and stuff like that. But like drugs like antidepressants, stuff like that. But no, it's witchcraft. You know what I'm saying? This book is wizardry, and at some point we'll get into it. But it tells you, instead of a friend, become not an enemy. Like I don't regard everybody in the ministry as my friend. I don't regard everybody in my assembly as my friend. But I regard the brothers as my brothers. And how do you do that? You keep it real. You keep it 100. You keep it this book. You stand on this word, on the word of Yah. You stand on principle. You stand on book. You deal with them according to this book. Okay? Not through shystiness and tactic, all these manipulation tactics, all this stuff like that. You don't want to be double tongued. Let's read this in a couple other versions. We're going to read it in the CB. And we also have the RSV also. So, but it says, don't become an enemy instead of a friend. If you get a bad name, you will also inherit shame and reproach, as is the case with the deceitful sinner. Okay? So, again, it's telling you, you know, it pretty much says the same thing, and it's saying you don't want to inherit a bad name. Because I can tell you, man, as soon as I detect people, and I've run into it a lot coming into this Hebrew Israelite thing, prior to coming in the straightway, man, I saw assemblies that openly encourage the study of the 48 Laws of Power. You could see it operating in people, and what it did, it ended up preventing true legitimate brotherhood and all that. It ended up preventing true brotherhood and true cohesion, being able to be brought forth, and it inevitably ended up in a lot of splits and division and stuff like that, because again, people were double tongued, they were operating deceitfully, and yeah, it just wasn't a good thing. All right, let's go to verse 2. Extol not thyself in the counsel of thine own heart, that thy soul be not torn in pieces as a bull straying alone. Okay, a bull straying alone, like a bull just going all over the place. That's how it is when you rely on emotional impulses, thoughts, feelings, and emotions. This is why this what it's the heart. When it talks about the heart, it's talking about your thoughts, feelings, and emotions that pop up, conclusions that you arrive at that are not filtered through the word of Yah. When you're not listening to that still small voice that says, maybe you shouldn't do that just yet. You ain't listening to it. You just rationalizing it away, and you're not seeing what thus saith the Most High. Okay? So that's basically what that's breaking down there. And that that's what y'all gonna see with a lot of this stuff is it comes right back to that, because at the end of the day, that's where the real work needs to go forth at, is in getting your mind right, getting your mind in alignment. It says, thou shalt eat up thy leaves and lose thy fruit and leave thyself okay. And it's basically saying you're just going to consume yourself. If you're leaning to your own understanding, you're just going to get yourself in a position where you can't produce fruit. And that's basically what it's saying here. You're leaning to your own understanding. You ain't running it through the Most High Yah. You're getting led astray. Because if you're not following Yah, you're following Satan. And it's not going to end well for you. And that's basically what verse 3 is saying. Thou shalt eat up thy leaves and lose thy fruit and leave thyself as a dry tree. And this is where you have these people where you see, hey, you're trying to guide them, but they want to go their own way, and you leave them to go their own way, and they end up just not being a fruitful, it ends up not being a fruitful endeavor for them. Okay. A wicked soul shall destroy him that hath it, and shall make him to be laughed to scorn of his enemies. Okay? So, I mean, this one here, I mean, it really ain't a whole bunch I could say about this. When your mindset is contrary or against what the word says, and how you should move and operate according to this word, is going to cause you to be brought to shame, and your enemies are even going to be like, damn, you know what I mean? They're going to be laughing at you. It's going to be sad. It's going to be a sad case. So again, we got to get in alignment with the word. Okay? And let's get granular, so we're not like hyper spiritualizing stuff and speaking with a bunch of vague ambiguity. What does it mean to get in alignment with this word? What does it really mean to be walking in the Spirit? When your thoughts, feelings, emotions, actions, behaviors line up with what's being said in this word, that's what I'm talking about. Being in alignment with this word. Let's get even more granular with that. These books that we're studying Sirach Ecclesiasticus, otherwise known as Ecclesiasticus here in the Apocrypha. We're also going to be starting a Bible study on the book of Proverbs. These books break down Yah's laws, statutes, expectations, how he would have us to move. They break it down into granular chunks. Other books in the Bible break his laws down in Also, there's also history that shows you what happens when you deviate from them. There's also history that shows you the blessings you get when you go according and everything else. The reason why I'm starting off this Bible study with these two books is because they really break it down into granular chunks where you can really see where you might be walking in error, where uh, and they really convict you on a heavy level. There's a heavy level of conviction you're gonna get reading through these things. You're gonna see yourself in a true light. Okay, but anyway, so that's verse 4. It says, "Sweet language will multiply friends, and a fair speaking tongue will increase kind greetings." So it's telling you, you know, don't be harsh. You know what I'm saying? If you deal with people according to wisdom and everything like that, it'll be good. Okay. Be in peace with many, nevertheless have but one counselor of 1,000. So, you know, you could have brothers and friends and all these. One person you go to really confide in and talk to. You know, you don't need to be able to deeply confide in a whole bunch of people. You know what I'm saying? Um, you know, and that's basically what it's sounding. Have one person you go to that you've through praying, through studying the Word, and seeking the Father, have been led to, and seek them for counsel. You know, so yeah. All right. And well, let's do this. Um, we'll read this in the other versions too. Okay, so let's see, it's verse 6. It says, "Let those that are at peace with you be many, but let your advisors be one in 1,000." Okay, so don't be seeking advice. This is what it's telling you in a nutshell. Don't be seeking advice from everyone. And that was the RSV version, Revised Standard Version. Okay, that's what that stands for. And CB, Common English Version, we're going to read that real quick. "Let those who are at peace with you be many, but let only one in 1,000 be your advisor." Okay, it says the same thing, almost word for word. Okay. "If thou wouldest get a friend, prove him first, and be not hasty to credit him." Okay, and we can all learn from that. You know, one of the sayings I've heard is, "How long does it take a tree to bear fruit?" It's like 4 to 5 years. Man, take your time. Even even with, especially with saints, take your time. Um, Giving credit to people, let them prove themselves. You know, and I'm guilty of that. Like I said, you read through this thing, you're gonna get diced and minced and cut up into little chunks going reading through Sirach Ecclesiasticus. But you gotta prove people. You gotta give them time. Um, in everything, whether it's meeting people, bringing them in your inner circle, stuff like that, crediting them. You know, you gotta give them time. You will know them by their fruit, but give time for their fruit to bear itself. Uh, because, like I said, you will know them by their fruit. You just look for the fruit and don't credit people too quickly. You know. especially in this walk, because people tend to let down their guard and their discernment, and tend not to question things. And I'm telling you, especially over the last year or so, and especially recently, in light of that series that I saw Pastor Al do in Straightway on closing doors and stuff like that, just really eye-opening on, hey, really leaning not to your own understanding, leaning not to your thought, feelings, and emotions, but leaning to the Spirit, hearing what the Holy Spirit is saying, hearing what the Word is saying, in when you listening to your discernment, when you see things and not ignoring it and turning from it. And I've done that, man. I've done that in the past. It's like, but I'm learning, man, to listen and really hearken to that still small voice. Y'all, me and Sister Corey were just talking, and the saints here in this assembly, we were just talking on Shabbat about how much distraction is out here now. It's so noisy. The technology is so pervasive into where it used to be you find something to concentrate on. Now stuff is grabbing your attention. You know, and it wasn't like that as long ago, as recent as 15 years ago. It wasn't like that. Some of y'all like, 15 years, that's a long time. It is not. Because in the 80s were super quiet, you know. The 80s was when like cable TV was coming in and all that. And things were it was beginning to get more pervasive. But man, this stuff is like on you now. You know, the phones, you got your Bluetooth notifications going off, and then look, where's this thing going? Where's this getting ready to go? Man, they're getting ready. They're right on the cusp of putting this technology in you. Okay, because the next big thing coming out is the glasses, where now your technology, what they call it, augmented reality, whatever they call it. And then soon it'll be implanted in your brain. Okay? And you got people saying, oh, that ain't the mark. Okay, go get that and find out. Okay? But anyway, let's continue. So, like we said, if you would get us a friend, prove him. And be not hasty to credit them, man. Take your time, slow down, pump them brakes. Okay? For some man is a friend for his own occasion, and will not abide in the day of thy trouble. And as deceptive as people can be, y'all, you can always, if you slow down and you listen and you watch, you can always pick up on stuff. Okay? You stay diligently in this word. You know what I mean? It always shows. You ain't gonna hide fruit and footwork. Okay? And there is a friend who, being turned to enmity and strife, will discover thy reproach. Okay? So let's read that in the CEB. It says, there are friends who turn into enemies, and they will reveal your disgraceful arguments. So there's people, they get mad, they get upset, they make you their enemy, and now they just want to destroy you and tear you down. Instead of, hey, this thing didn't work out, and you go meekly and humbly, and hey, it's about the book, it's about the word, it's about the saints. No. So instead of, hey, we were friends, but now we're going to just be brothers. No, they turn into an enemy. And these people have been wicked all along. who would move and operate like that. Let's read it on in I think that was verse 8 we were reading. Yeah, it says, "For there is a friend who is such as his own convenience, at his own convenience, but will not stand by you in your day of trouble. And there is a friend who changes into an enemy and will disclose a quarrel to your disgrace." Okay? So, there's a friend, he turns into an enemy, and he was just a friend because it was convenient for him to be such. Okay? So, you have to be on the lookout. You have to be locked in. You have to be aware of these things. This is the wisdom in, in these books here. In Sirach, in the book of Proverbs. This is the wisdom that you need to get understanding in. That's, and like I said, you're gonna see as we read through these books, these verses here, they give you wisdom for every situation you can get caught up in life. Anything that could occur, they have wisdom on it. Okay, and you're gonna see that as we read. Again, some friend is a companion at the table and will not continue in the day of thy affliction. So you gotta, y'all, as you get older, you get discernment. You can pick up on the people who just kind of play acting, trying to look the part, and then you can discern the people who are transparent, loyal, 100% locked in. And you're going to know this by going through stuff. You got to go through something to get to something. You watch how people operate. It eventually becomes very clear unless you're just ignoring it. And as we read earlier, if you're extolling yourself in the counsel of your heart, if you're hearkening the thoughts, feelings, and emotions, that's what you're gonna do. You're just gonna ignore this stuff, and then you're gonna miss it, and you're gonna get bit. But in thy prosperity, he will be as thyself, and will be bold over thy servants. Okay. If thou be brought low, he will be against thee and will hide himself from thy face. So it's literally saying that there's people that while you rocking hard and you shaking heavy and moving hard and everything's good, they're going to be rocking with you. But as soon as the opportunity presents itself where they can step on you and crush you, they're going to do that. Okay? And it's only telling you that because there's people out there like that. It says, "Separate thyself from thine enemies and take heed of thy friends." So you literally got to watch people. You got to watch people because, hey, Satan operates through people, including you, including me. He tries to manifest and operate through people. So you got to watch yourself. To make sure he's not trying to operate from you, you got to watch those around you. And when you see somebody who's given over to him, you got to separate yourself from them. That's what it tells you. Okay? That distance do work. Let's see. A faithful friend is a strong defense, and he that have found such a one have found a treasure. So that what it's saying here, it's rare to find faithful friends. Okay? It's just letting you know. It says he who has found one. It didn't say a bunch. So this is telling you. So you just have to be vigilant. You have to be sober. You have to be watchful with the people you're dealing with, who you let in, who you let into your inner circle. Okay? Nothing doeth contravail a faithful friend, and his excellency is invaluable. Okay? It says it all there, man. That it just is priceless. It's already called it a trip. Oh, okay. That we hitting so hard the internet is shaking. The internet connection shook on that. The internet connection was like, whoo. Okay? We skipped a little. Y'all let me know in the comments if the connection's still good. But it says a faithful friend is the medicine of life, and they that fear the Lord shall find them. Okay? If you are obedient to the word, you will find a faithful friend. And listen, if you are obedient to Yah's word, you're going to eliminate the people. You're going to be able to see the people who are not. You see what I'm saying? And like I said, you don't need a whole bunch. All you need is one, y'all. All right? Be patient and obey Yah, and he'll send. Whoso feareth the Lord shall direct his friendship aright. For as he is, so shall his neighbor be also. Listen, y'all. Look, when you rocking with this word 100, people who got what's a good way to say it? It's gonna weed out people who ain't with this book. And look, when you see people going contrary to the book, trust that and back off. Distance yourself. Is that what it said? Separate yourself. It says, separate thyself from thine enemies and take heed of thy friends. That's what it said earlier. But it said, for as he is, so shall his neighbor be also. So whoso feareth the Lord shall direct his friendship aright. So when you're obedient to this word, you're gonna have obedient people in your inner circle as your friends, and people who are not. There's a distance is just gonna come. Okay. All right, my son, gather instruction from thy youth up, so shalt thou find wisdom till thine old age. Let's read that in 18, because that's, you get it, man. We've been talking about getting wisdom, getting understanding. All right, this is the RSV. It says, my son, from your youth up, choose instruction, and until you are old, you will keep finding wisdom. This book, y'all, this basic. This is a basic cornerstone that you really got to get, man. Get this spiritual wisdom. Okay? Come unto her. Now this is good here. Now we're talking about wisdom, y'all. Listen to this. This is good, what we getting ready to read now. I like this. It says, we're talking about wisdom. It says, come unto her as one that ploweth and soweth. Woo! It's telling you to get wisdom for this, because this is what I be talking about with people. A lot of people, man, they don't got the patience. They don't got the humility. They don't got the drive, the discipline, the enduring substance to labor for wisdom, because you're gonna labor for it for a while, and it's just gonna be difficult and frustrating, and people get discouraged and quit. But listen to what the book says. Listen to this. Check this out. It says, come unto her as one that ploweth and soweth, and wait for her good fruits. So you're going to plow and sow. You're going to be laboring for this. It's going to be uncomfortable. You're going to find out what you don't know first. And a lot of people, man, oh my goodness. It's just mind blowing to see the people who get discouraged and how it manifests, all the different ways it manifests within people to avoid getting wisdom and just go the other route. And it's a myriad of mechanisms people operate in because they don't truly want to get wisdom. They don't want to break. So check this out. Come unto her as one that ploweth and soweth, and wait for her good fruits. For thou shalt not toil much in laboring about her, but thou shalt eat of her fruits right soon. Okay? She is very unpleasant to the unlearned. So when you lack wisdom, when you've been raised in a way that's contrary to a book, it's not going to feel good. She is very unpleasant to the unlearned. He that is without understanding will not remain with her. She will lie upon him as a mighty stone of trial. Listen, it said trial. It's going to test you. Okay? So as a mighty stone of trial. And he will cast her from him ere it be long. And he will cast her from him ere it be long. Let me read that in the CB, because that right there doesn't make sense to me. I don't understand it. It's just written a little confusing. So we're going to CEB it. Okay, 21. It says, she will weigh him down like a heavy testing stone, and he will not be slow to cast her off. Okay, we're going to read it in the RSV too, just to get a clear understanding. Or no, that was the RSV. We're going to read it in the CB now. Okay, she will be like a heavy stone that tests them, and they won't hesitate to throw her aside. Okay? For wisdom is according to her name, and she is not manifest unto many. So not a lot of people, the wisdom does not reveal herself to a lot of people. If you think I'm lying, look how many people are watching this this live. It's not a lot of people in here. And this video is not going to get a lot of views. Okay? At least I don't think. Unless, you know. But it says, give ear, my son, receive my advice, and refuse not my counsel. And put thy feet into her fetters, and thy neck into her chain. So it's telling you, become a servant unto this wisdom. Okay? Servant. Bow down thy shoulder and bear her, and be not grieved with her bonds. Okay? I'm telling you, getting this understanding, it could be painful, it can be humiliating, it could be discouraging, but you got to serve it. Okay? Come unto her with thy whole heart, and keep her ways with all thine power. Okay? What is it talking about? Wisdom. It's written in here. Listen to all these proverbs and stuff written in the book of Sirach, book of Ecclesiasticus. Again, it's the law, statutes, and commandments of Yah. It's how Yah wants us to work, but it's broken down in the granular chunks that even a young child can understand. But it cuts. It's uncomfortable. It says, come unto her with thy whole heart, and keep her ways with all thy power. Okay? It's gonna that thing. These people, you got a mindset where people operate in religious spirits, and they don't believe they have to put forth effort. Okay? It says, for at the last thou shalt find her rest, and that shall be turned to thy joy. Then shall her fetters be a strong defense for thee, and her chains a robe of glory. Okay? For this is a golden ornament upon her, and her bands are purple lace. thou shalt put her on as a robe of honor, and shalt put her about thee as a crown of joy. My son, if thou wilt, thou shalt be taught. And if thou wilt apply thy mind, thou shalt be prudent. Okay? And prudent is thinking ahead. You know, taking consideration for the future. How's this going to play out? Like the way I think a lot of times, I'm thinking 10, 20 years ahead. I'm thinking generationally, and I'm thinking legacy. I'm not thinking now about my thoughts. How do I feel? Oh, is this going to feel good? No, I'm like, yo, I can't be sitting on my ass wasting time when there's stuff that needs to be done. Like, I got to get stuff together. I got to, you know what I'm saying? All right. So thou shalt put her on as a robe of honor. So this is after you've went through the testing period, like in the, like Sirach chapter 2 says, after you've been gold, you've been tried in the fire. Now you letting the potter shape you. Okay. Thou shalt put her on as a robe of honor, and shalt put her about thee as a crown of joy. My son, if thou wilt, thou shalt be taught. So if you want it, you're going to get it. Just stay consistent. Have a commitment to consistency. My son, if thou wilt, thou shalt be taught. And if thou wilt apply thy mind, thou shalt be prudent. If thou love to hear, thou shalt receive understanding. And if thou bow thine ear, thou shalt be wise. Y'all, there's so much in that verse right there. Because, and I'm saying that because, yo, there are a lot of people, they don't want to hear. They don't want to receive understanding. They don't want to bow their ear because they're prideful. So they don't want to be wise. And you can see it, y'all. You can see it in their footwork. And you just got to see that fruit and separate yourself when you see people contrary to this. And again, I'm going to stress it again. You got people who want wisdom. They want to get understanding. They want to become wise. And they come humbly. And then there's everything else. And there's all these mechanisms people come up with, and they operate in to be contrary to that. And that's some wisdom that I've learned recently, to just see, hey, you got people who are willing to humble down and be humble and be wise and do what's laid out. And then there's everything else. And I used to get caught up in everything else. Now I just see the small, tiny group of people who want to be wise. They want to get wisdom. They're on that trajectory. They're moving in that direction. And I'm rocking with that. All that other shit, distance. You see what I'm saying? Because you got to be prudent, y'all. You got to be thinking ahead. You got to be looking at everything. You got to be observing. Because, y'all, the distractions are at an all-time high in this time we live in, with people, places, things, mindsets. Maybe I can find impulses. You know what I'm saying? You name it. Okay? It says, be willing to hear every godly discourse, and let not the parables of understanding escape thee. Y'all, this is heavy. Oh, look at this right here. I skipped one, so we'll get it. Okay, I skipped a bunch of them. Will thou shalt be taught. Okay, thou shalt put her on as a robe, and shalt put her about thee as a crown of joy. And what is it saying when it's talking about put her on as a robe and a crown of joy? Listen, the Most High said, He said, I came so you could have life and have it more abundantly. I'm gonna put this thing, what's being said about wisdom and why it's a treasure. I'm gonna break it down into simple, practical terms. What you're gonna do, you're gonna go through life. If you have wisdom and you seek it, and like I said, you put that on and you go after, like this word is telling you, you're going to go through life and you're going to be able to see the traps and the deceptions and the wiles of the enemy work through people, places, things, and your mindsets. And it's going to make it so you don't, when you get older, you're not like in a painful life full of calamity and confusion. Because a lot of times, hey, you could have a righteous mindset, but you're surrounded by unrighteous people, and that will pull you down. This is why I'm just saying you got to get wisdom and get understanding. You can have a righteous mindset and be not just people. You could be around unrighteous people, places, things, all that stuff. Okay, it skipped out. We're almost done now. You're gonna see what I'm saying is exactly spot on, because all you got to do is read through these books, and you're gonna see that is what this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding pertains to situations you deal with in life. Okay. It says, "My son, if thou wilt, thou shalt be taught, and if thou wilt apply thy mind, thou shalt be prudent. If thou love to hear, thou shalt receive understanding. And if thou bow thine ear, thou shalt be wise. Stand in the multitude of the elders, and cleave unto him that is wise. Be willing to hear every godly discourse, and let not the parables of understanding escape thee." Let's read 34. Let's go over 34. It tells you, stand in the multitude of elders and cleave unto him that is wise. Okay. Let's read that in the CEB 34. It tells you, keep company with the elders and stick closely to their wisdom. Okay. So you know, and we have brothers here who get that 100%. In our assembly, there's a bunch of young brothers in their 20s, in their 30s, that when they make moves, they're asking for input, stuff like that, direction. Hey, how you think I should do this? Boom, boom, boom. And they're humble and they're communicating. It's always high levels of spiritual talk and all that, and they get this, and you can see it through their fruit. It says, be willing to hear every godly discourse, and let not the parables of understanding escape thee. If thou seest a man of understanding, get thee betimes unto him, and let thy foot wear the steps of his door. So it's like me, man. When I was up in Detroit, I seen Pastor, I seen Straightway as a whole. I was like, I said, this man is on it. He get it. He's locked in. And I locked in right behind him. And follow, listen to the messages, watch the footwork closely. Look at where he's at. You know, talking about Pastor Dow. He's older than me. Okay? He's been consistent. He has consistency in his life. Standing on principle, standing on book. Not a worshiper of man. He stand on principle. And I look at the fruit. I look at his family. I look at his household, how he has it in order. I look at the labor, what he's labored and what he's achieved. I was like, man, that's where I want to be. Let me get in alignment with that. It says, if thou seest a man of understanding, get thee betimes unto him. Let's read that in the CB so we can see, let's see, 36. If you find individuals who are intelligent, get up before dawn to see these people and let your foot wear out their doorsteps. Let's go to 36. We're going to read in our RSV. It says, if you see an intelligent man, visit him early, let your foot wear out his doorstep. Okay? And I can say I do that because, and Pastor will tell you, if I got something to talk to him about, he's going to be hearing from me at between 7 and 8 o'clock in those hours in the morning. That's when I'll call him. And if he don't answer then I'll call him again at 10, and then usually not afternoon. Okay? Listen, let thy mind be upon the ordinances of the Lord, and meditate continually on his commandments. He shall establish thine heart and give thee wisdom in thine own desire. Okay? And we're going to read this in the CB. Think about the Lord's decrees and meditate constantly on his commandments. He will make your heart steadfast and will grant your desire for wisdom. You got, look, this is heavy here. And last time I'm reading the RSV, then I'm going to break it down. Reflect on the statutes of the Lord and meditate at all times on his commandments. It is he who will give insight to your mind, and your desire for wisdom will be granted. But again, you got to show yourself to be worthy, y'all. You got to show yourself to be worthy. You can't read it a little bit and then get discouraged and you're not going after it. You got to press in after this. You got to be supplicating to the Lord. You got to be begging him for understanding and guidance through this. And and continue studying and reading through this thing. And then he's going to begin to open your heart up. Open your heart up mean? Open your mind. This stuff's going to begin to stick in your mind. It's going to begin to become who you are. But you got to meditate. Like, this got to be a major part of your day. You can't just study for an hour or 15 minutes each day. No, you got to meditate on this thing. Like I said, I be throughout the day. If nobody's around me, or I'm not dealing with nobody, like I'm not engaged with somebody, boom, I'm listening to. I'm using this technology as a tool instead of as a weapon against myself. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, but yeah, y'all, get in wisdom, get in understanding, man. It's the principal thing. It's the primary thing, y'all. You gotta get it, man. I'm telling you. But I hope y'all enjoyed this study of chapter 6 of Sirach. That's where we're at in our verse by verse Bible study. We're going to continue on. If you haven't seen the other ones, it's all in a playlist over there on my channel. And we're going to continue on shaking heavy and moving hard through this. Definitely appreciate all y'all tuning in. And with that said, y'all, shalom, shalom.